Good morning. I'm Caitlin Walters, and I've got Marshall Ray on the phone here, and we're just talking about Veterans Day and the VFW and how you can support your local veterans. Well, good morning. How are you, Marshall?
Oh, I'm doing great. Enjoying this cool, damp weather.
Perfect. Well, so I just wanted to talk a little bit with you about Veterans Day and all of that. So can you talk just a little bit about your family's military history and how you became interested in the military?
It goes, we got a strong history clear back, as far as I know, documented to the Civil War. And my granddad served during World War I, and my grandmother lost a first cousin over in France during World War I, over in Ardennes. My dad served during World War II over in Europe. He was in Patton's Third Army, the Battle of the Bulge. He claims they saved the encircled 101st Airborne. Of course, we know the 101st Airborne said we didn't need to be saved, but anyway, they fought pretty hard to get up there to help them. So, my son served in the Army, in the military police, did 3 tours. So I kind of grew up in the VFW there at Oakley. My dad was a charter member. Actually, 4 signatures on the Oakley charter for the VFW are related to me. So Saturday used to be the day when everybody would go into Oakley. The sale was on Saturday, and everybody came to town and took cream and eggs to town, there when I was a kid. And after the sale, then we'd go down to the VFW and hang out for a while, and I'd just sit there and listen to all the stories of the veterans sitting in there, and I just really enjoyed it, and all those stories and what they did, and kind of stories you don't usually hear, like family stories. It's fascinating to me, so I've always been interested and very supportive of our military.
Yeah, definitely. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's a difference between VFW Auxiliary and the regular VFW. What is that difference?
Yes. The VFW, they are the actual military personnel who went overseas in a conflict, active conflict overseas, like in Vietnam or Germany or Italy or Afghanistan, any active combat. Now, there's a lot of them that went overseas, but they didn't serve in a combat zone. They're not eligible for the VFW. But the veterans of foreign wars, they actually served in a war overseas. The auxiliary is family members of these veterans. The eligibility requirements are 2 generations up from the veteran. So, like my granddad or my dad or my spouse or my siblings or my kids or my grandkids would be the 2 generations up or down. Or you can go step relation, step granddad, step this, all that is the requirements for eligibility to the auxiliary, which is the family members.
Gotcha. And then, so how did you get involved with the VFW? And also, how can others get involved?
Like I said, I kind of grew up there in the VFW and in the shadow of all those veterans there. And so I was always very interested in it. Personally, I didn't serve. My health reasons. I couldn't pass physical, but I always supported our military. And the auxiliary is a good place for people that want to serve our veterans and take care of their needs. Anybody who wants to get involved, they can just contact their local VFW or the American Legion. They're veterans also. And, get involved with their activities, whether it's a chicken fried steak night, buy a meal from them, or, if they've got a gun raffle going, if you don't want a gun, you could just say, here's $20, put it to good use, which, all of our money, is for veteran support. The VFW has a national home in Eaton Rapids, Michigan, a place for families of military people if they need a place to live. There's lots of programs, that support the veterans. You see them around town doing, like posting colors or presenting the colors on the football field before football games and leading the parades. And, if you want to get involved, you don't have to march in a parade or you don't have to cook meals or something. You can come to meetings and they'll find a place for you to help out.
So that was another thing that I wanted to talk to you about. I know you guys do a lot of events, a flag retirement ceremony on the 12th here. And what else do you guys have going on for Veterans Day?
Yeah, everyone's invited to the proper way to retire American flag after it's become faded or corn from the western Kansas wind that we have abundance of out here, At 12:15 in Oakley, they're on the west side of the middle school, we'll do this program. We're going to do two programs, 12:15 for the little kids, 12:30 for the bigger kids. And then actually on that day, too, at 1 o'clock then, following this, the fifth grade class in Oakley, they're, a history major teacher from Colby, Miss Linda Garrett, picked 5 students, and they wrote stories about their grandpas or their great-grandpas. And they're going to read their stories at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. So everybody is invited to that. Tuesday morning, also the Catholic Church has a Mass going on. Then at 9:15, there's a meal for all veterans to come to, and they got their own veterans program there with the kids singing some songs for the veterans. On the 11th, on Veterans Day, in Oakley, we're having a parade at 11 o'clock. The significance of 11 o'clock is that's when the armistice was signed to end World War I. It wasn't World War I then. It was the Great War. And it was the armistice, the peace treaty, was signed at 11 o'clock on the 11th month, the 11th day. And so that's when we're going to have the parade in Oakley. This year's on the 11th. Because there's no school that day, we can have it at 11. And then we have a taco bar that evening at Oakley. It's a meal for everybody to come and eat. Just kind of make your own, however you want to eat it, as much as you want to eat. We got a fundraiser. We got raffles going on, some gun raffles. The American Legion has a buffalo hunt that they're raffling with the processing, goes with it. They're only going to sell 200 tickets. You can stop in at Oakley at the barbershop and get tickets for that if you want to. And all the towns in the area have, I think Colby has their parade on Saturday. Get out in your community and attend these parades, and something you want to do, talk to some of the members. They'll be more than happy to sign you up. Try it for a year. And then if you decide it's not for you, that's okay. Go ahead and move on. If you like it, you can stay and get involved.
I feel that a lot of my generation doesn't know as much history about all of these wars and stuff. Is there any books or museums or anything that you recommend just off the top of your head to kind of learn about that stuff? I
agree. This younger generation doesn't understand a lot of that. I mean, the very highlights are taught in school. If it wasn't for our forefathers, we'd still be under British rule. If they hadn't said, we're going to be our own country. And the rights that we have because of that, the Bill of Rights, those are all things that they could not do. And so many people don't understand this. And so as far as books, I guess I don't really know of any books. There's got to be some out there. Go to the library or the internet, is such a wealth of information. Learn the Bill of Rights to start with. That's interesting. And why is the freedom of speech on there? Well, because under British rule, you couldn't say what you wanted to say. You couldn't print what you wanted to print. You couldn't worship like you wanted to. The British said, this is the religion. This is what you do. So the Second Amendment, of course, the right to carry arms. That's how we won our independence from Britain, because private ownership. Yeah. And that was important. And so that was in the Bill of Rights. And you just go down the list and read them all. There's a reason they're there. It's good information that a lot of people don't know and don't understand. And that's why I'm so glad about this fifth grade class in Oakley doing this program on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. These younger kids, they did this research on their grandpas, their great-grandpas. And we're going to present the colors before this program. So we had a practice in there yesterday and visiting with these 3 kids that are going to be reading about their grandparents. So this is really cool. And so hopefully this will start an annual thing. Next year there'll be some more kids get interested in, what did grandpas do in the war? That's what I hope happens. I don't know if it will.
Yeah, well, hopefully. Maybe they'll be inspired by these programs. Really cool stuff going on. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me about everything.
Well, thank you for thinking about the support for the veterans and doing this for them. That's, every community has something going on. Find out what it is and go.
And there you go. That was Marshall Ray. And make sure you find out what it is in your community and head on over. You can check out nwksradio.net to find out what the events are in your local area there. And happy Veterans Day.